on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy this morning, Charles Thomas, former ABC7 political reporter.
Great to be here.
And Charles, as I mentioned before Mike Scott's news, Eric Hovde, who's a Republican candidate for Senate in Wisconsin, has closed his deficit with Tammy Baldwin. I believe it's within the margin of error. She was seen as a prohibitive favorite. And in part because he is not shying away from taking up some important cultural issues. James Freeman in the Wall Street Journal writes about the race a bit under the headline, "Defend Girls Win a GOP Senate." That's a simple message. We're going to be the party that defends women and women in sport, women in the women's bathroom, and so forth. Hovde mentioned in this taking up this issue as he traverses the great state of Wisconsin, his daughter was a standout athlete in high school, but that her sporting career, he said, would have been dramatically impacted if she competed against athletes who were born males. He said, I'm quoting, it was wonderful seeing all the opportunities she had to compete in sports and achieve the success she did, but if she would have had to compete against guys who robbed her of those opportunities, I find that as a father fundamentally wrong. Yeah, that would not have been a controversial statement too long ago. He is also, in an interview he did, Hovde, with Barton Swaim at the Journal, has gone after Tammy Baldwin for giving taxpayer money to groups that promote letting kids transition to another gender, which she has. This also came up to some extent in Virginia Senate debate. Suburban dad on the down low, Tim Kaine is the incumbent. You remember?
Yeah.
The Hillary Kaine ticket. Wasn't that exciting? A former Navy captain named Hung Kao is the Republican in that race. And the topic of the low recruitment or the recruitment problem that the armed services have, the numbers being too low. Here's what Captain Cow had to say.
When you're using a drag queen to recruit for the Navy, that's not the people we want. What we need is alpha males and alpha females who are going to rip out their own guts, eat them, and ask for seconds. Those are young men and women that are going to win wars.
Please, audience, please.
Please don't applaud that. It's going to make us look bad.
I know, man.
How about it?
Those are issues that people genuinely care about. And sometimes I watch the national campaigns, and I wonder why those issues aren't more prominent. Now, there's one ad, I think it's a Trump ad. I don't know if Trump's doing it or some PAC's doing it, but they talk about Kamala wanting to do sex change operations on prisoners.
That got the attention of Charlemagne the God. It was running during NFL games, I think, this weekend, and he's like, "Whoa, what's that?" Yeah. And this is supposed to be a renowned radio talk show host. He may want to pay a little bit more attention, Charlemagne. But anyway, it got through to him.
Yeah, but I mean, it's getting through, I think, to a lot of people.
American Principles Project has done ads on this as well. There are others. I mean, it's an issue. I mean, look at all the attention that was paid to William, or Leah. Don't call me William Thomas. William's his name. Is William Thomas. That's the Pennsylvania swimmer who tried to insinuate his way into the Olympics. And then, you've had Riley Gaines come out and be very outspoken and provide a lot of leadership on the issue. Well, we've got another such instance because in volleyball at the collegiate level, there's a man pretending to be a woman to play women's basketball. His name is Braden Fleming. That's his real name. He goes by Blair Fleming. He's at San Jose State. And, by the way, some of the girls and the girls' teams are starting to put down markers. Boise State just forfeited a game against San Jose State over the issue of this guy playing girls volleyball. Another individual who is making an issue of this standout female college volleyball player named Macy Petty. She was NCAA college volleyball player and a leader of Young Women for America. I think she plays at Lee University in Tennessee. Macy Petty joins us now. Macy, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You're at Lee University in Tennessee, so you're playing currently?
I just graduated.
You just
actually.
graduated.
Yep,
Okay.
from Lee University.
Very good. All right. Well, so I saw the op-ed you wrote in for Fox News over at foxnews.com. So tell us what's going on in girls volleyball at the collegiate level.
Yeah, well, it's quite devastating. Like you said, San Jose State has rostered a male athlete in one of their women's volleyball spots. We are also on record saying that this athlete is on a volleyball scholarship. So not only is his participation putting all the other girls in danger at an increased risk of harm, but it's also taking away these opportunities that would have gone otherwise to a female athlete. And so since it's been discovered that this athlete is a male, San Jose State has just been sweeping women's volleyball, absolutely dominating. They're still undefeated. They're one of only a few undefeated teams still in Division One. They just beat a Big Ten school for the first time since 2004. So the competition is just unheard of. But we're starting to see girls stand up, which is actually really encouraging. Like you said, a co-captain of the San Jose State has actually joined the lawsuit against the NCAA, saying what's going on here is unjust, it's discrimination. And other schools have actually stood up and saying we're not going to intentionally put and knowingly put our girls at an increased risk of harm. If there's a boy on the other side of the court, we're not playing.
Well, the other thing, too, is about this volleyball player for San Jose State, which is where this guy plays. She references in the lawsuit that she was forced to compete as well as share a residence with this guy. Mm-hmm. And so that's interesting. I wonder how things are going internally within the team over at San Jose State. It doesn't sound very good. And I wonder if, because we had this conversation with Riley Gaines and during the whole Leah Thomas saga and with Ivy League swimming and national female swimming. Parents are afraid to speak up. I don't want it to negatively affect my daughter. Girls are afraid to speak up. Fellow athletes are afraid to speak up because I don't want it to, I don't want to be mean. I don't want retribution. I don't want to be ostracized. All of those sorts of dynamics are at play, and I wonder if you think that's changing at all.
Yeah, I can't imagine what the team dynamics are going on the inside. I mean, Brooke, the athlete who joined the lawsuit, has gone on record saying a lot of what's going on, saying the school is trying to silence them, keep them from speaking up about it. But it's hard to think, they're doing the bus rides, doing the hotel rooms. In season, they spend nearly every minute together. So I can't imagine what's going on the inside while also having to deal with all of the controversy surrounding their team. I mean, they've had 4 teams opt out of playing against them. That's 4 teams, 4 games already canceled on their schedule. So it's undeniable, and it's just begging for a question or begging for an answer from some of the authorities that let this happen.
Yeah, like Charlie Baker, the former Massachusetts governor and NCAA, the head of the NCAA, who's really been Pontius Pilate on this issue.
Yeah, absolutely. We really need some accountability from the NCAA. Concerned Women for America also filed a civil rights complaint. It was the first federal action taken against San Jose State for their willful violation of Title IX.
And you mentioned it's 4 teams that have forfeited, have refused to play San Jose State. So to some extent, that's encouraging. It sounds like this, courage is contagious. It sounds like it's spreading a little bit, and more teams and female athletes and coaches are willing to say, no, we're not doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. We are. It's just seeming to snowball, which is really encouraging. Just last night, Southern Utah State said that they weren't playing anymore, which is really encouraging. And we hope that it's to protect their female athletes. Maybe they're scared because some of the girls are taking to the courts, and they're scared they would be liable if they willingly put their female athletes at an increased risk of injury. They haven't specified exactly what their reasoning is, but we are encouraged that they appear to be putting the safety of their female athletes first.
So, like, what's your perspective on where this conversation is within the ranks of female college athletes. Obviously, I'm sure this was an issue that you discussed with your teammates and your coaches, and this is getting discussed, internally in this, this close knit group of people who play, D1 college athletics.
Yeah, well, there was a lie that kind of dominated for a long time that this wasn't really happening. People could just kind of sweep it under the rug and ignore it. But now we're seeing it at every level in every sport, and so it really does demand an answer. I've had several conversations with athletic directors and coaches and things like that who are all saying, what do we need to do here? Because it's obvious that this is a real issue. And so we're encouraged by some of the individual action that we've seen and just like promising and putting their own institutional policies in place to protect their female athletes. But everyone really is looking for a national regulation here to protect female athletes from the NCAA, from Congress, from somebody.
Macy, this is Charles Thomas, the co-host today. What can the public do to help?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things to do. First of all, I think exposing when these issues happen, because a lot of the times they try and fly under the radar if they have a male athlete on their team. So we need people on the ground keeping an eye out, making sure that accountability is there for when there's a male athlete on the team. Second of all, like I said, we are encouraging universities to adopt some institutional policies, because Charlie Baker came out with a letter to the U.S. Senate saying that their trans inclusion policies aren't mandatory and schools can operate in their own institutional values. So we are looking to these schools to adopt their own policies, saying that if there's a man on the other side of the team, we're not going to play. We need some kind of action there to protect their female athletes, and also institutional policies that say we won't include any men on our team. So we're hoping that some leaders in the education world will start leading on that.
But you talked about the institutions and the athletes, but what can I do? What can Joe Sixpack do?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's definitely an aspect of support there for the female athletes, donating to the lawsuit, things like that, that are so critical in the success here. But I mean, even when it comes to things like education, if you're an alumni somewhere or on the board somewhere, even going to your school boards, just making sure that accountability is there, because ultimately they do have to listen to the voice of the people.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. And Charlie Baker's being such a coward. It's really despicable. Macy Petty is a former NCAA college volleyball player at Lee University. She is now the leader of Young Women for America. Macy Petty, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
And she joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. Republicans haven't left a debate this happy since the second Reagan-Mondale face-off in 1984. Despite facing 3